Well, here you go, eyeball. Here's a little basic paint gun 101. This is a little detail gun. This has a 0.6 millimeter tip on it. So the orifice here is around 20 thousandths, maybe a teeny bit smaller. I use this one for shading, custom painting, or doing really small parts, edging stuff. This is a Harbor Freight gun. It was on sale. It's real cheap, but it does perform real good. It has a pattern adjustment, fluid adjustment, and also an air regulator right built into the handle, which is really handy, especially on these little guns. This one will spray down to around 5-10 psi and still give you a good performance, a good pattern, layout metallics. Nice little gun. This one's a little bigger. This is a copycat of the Iwata. This is a Chinese made one. I have 3 of these. They perform really well. This has a 1.0 millimeter tip, which is probably around 38 thousandths, somewhere in there. This one has pattern adjustment, fluid adjustment, and the air regulator built right into the handle. This one I've used for base coats, clear coats, primers, everything for small jobs up to about the size of a fender, maybe even a little more. It adjusts way out and sprays metallics real good down to about 10-15 pounds. Really nice little gun. I'm real happy with this one. And here's the Seda. This is a fairly big dollar gun if you're going to go buy something new. This is not an HVLP. This is a 1.4 millimeter tip, which is about 58 thousand, somewhere in there. And this one has fluid adjustment, pattern adjustment, and also a pressure regulator built in. This one has the optional larger cup so that you don't run out. These come with a smaller cup, about 2/3 of a quart. This is a full quart. I also have the little filter on there. These are little plastic balls that go between your air connector and the handle of the gun. It's just a little extra insurance for keeping crud and maybe even a little moisture out of this paint job. The gravity feeds are more efficient, of course, because they don't need air to siphon the paint, because the paint flows down with gravity. So you can get a more efficient spray pattern with maybe 5, 10, 15 pounds less air, because the air doesn't have to suck like it does in a siphon feed gun. Here's my old favorite that I like to use for stuff that you're doing. This is the Sharp 775. This one has 1.6, 1.7 millimeter tip, which is roughly 70 thousandths. And the air cap on this one really breaks up the material nice and fine. There's your fluid adjustment, pattern adjustment, and this one doesn't have in the handle regulator, so I had to add one on here for adjusting the air pressure at the gun. And changing the air pressure while you're spraying is really important, because you have to, as you go in for flipping the gun over small little areas or getting into tight spots, you may want to lower the pressure just for a little flash spray so you can get a tight area covered or something. This gun atomizes real well, and even though it's not as efficient as a gravity feed, we're only talking maybe 10% difference in fluid, and it's not that big of a deal painting a small job. There's another big old gravity feed. These babies were real popular back in the 70s and early 80s. This is the Binks Model 7. This one is equipped with a huge SG or SK air cap, and this one's about 72 thousandths at the tip. This is for painting truck boxes. You can screw them down a little bit, but these really put out the fluid, so it's okay. And they were a good gun for most of the time, and still are, but right now you can pick them up cheap used, and Eclipse and everybody else is making them for about 20 bucks in the aftermarket. Here's the little ball filter. These little filters, I just screw an air fitting on them, and then they screw right on the handle of the gun. Handy to have. You can buy them in singles or 3-packs, and They're not real expensive, but it's good extra insurance. And they just go right on the handle of the gun. Now we're going to adjust one real quick. I always take the fluid adjustment, back it all the way out. These guns, good quality guns, are designed to be adjusted this way. Pull the full trigger, screw the fluid adjustment in until it bottoms out against the fluid rod. There I am right there. Okay, that's where I start. And then I will move it in if I need it in a little bit, but no further out than right up against the fluid rod with a full trigger pull. Now it seems like a lot, and some people don't do it that way, but that's the way these guns were designed, to start out with a full trigger pull and adjust down from there. The pattern adjustment will make your pattern go bigger and smaller. Clockwise turns it down to a dot, counterclockwise opens it up to a nice fan. Somewhere toward the open fan is where you're going to get the best atomization, and then you can tweak it a little bit with the fluid adjustment and the air pressure. The next thing is your distance. That tweaks how much fluid you pull in. You're going to tighten that pattern up, put more fluid on the area you're spraying. If you pull out, you're going to widen that pattern out, and it's going to be drier. You're not going to get as wet a contact with the pattern and the fluid.